everybody, PieCover here. What gives Bitcoin value? Right? Why Bitcoin is valuable? Why is it at 26,000 or 30,000, whatever the number is right now? So why is everybody talking about Bitcoin? Why Bitcoin? So this is what I want to talk about today, because I think it's important to explain, because it's not so easy for people to understand. Now, you have Bitcoin that really was discovered in 2008 in the financial crisis, and the Genesis block, which is the first record of transactions that was recorded on the time chain. If you go there, you'll see it says Chancellor and brink of second bailout for banks. So this is kind of like a revolt, or you can look at it as a revolution that started since then. But now it doesn't stop there. Where is the value come from, right? Satoshi himself said, we have, to trust the banks and the central banks not to devalue the money, right? But they always do that, right? They do that every single time. So if we have to trust them to not do something and they keep doing it, then something is wrong. So that's what Bitcoin intended to fix, is to fix the money. So now, why is this so important? Why it is important to fix the money? Well, because if the money is not fixed, right, then you are in big trouble, right? Because if the value of the money keep on decreasing, right, so it's not valuable, right? The value of the money to go up, right? So he put in the code, right, basically a way so that Bitcoin can be issued over time, right? Bitcoin is not being issued with just the energy. Yes, you need the energy to issue to get the Bitcoin, but without the energy, the Bitcoin will be issued anyway, right? If you cut the amount of energy going on the Bitcoin network right now, if you cut it in half, right, you will still have Bitcoin coming out. So it's not the amount of energy necessarily that extracting the Bitcoin. It's more about the timing, right? So it's mostly about the timing that, extracting the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is time. Every 10 minutes it clicks, right? A Bitcoin second that clicks is every 10 minutes. So this is why we know it's time. Now, why is it important to know that? Well, because if you don't understand why time is important, then you don't understand. It's really hard for you to understand Bitcoin, right? You need to understand why time is important in your life, because time is the most important thing in life. You don't get your time back. You never get your time back, right? You lose your time today, you lose it forever, right? Whatever your time you spend at your work, you don't get that back. So that's why you have to preserve that time, that money, into something hard to create. Bitcoin is that thing. So once you start from there, now let's go back to the Bitcoin time. So it clicks every 10 minutes. There is a mathematical equation for it by itself. There's a mathematical equation for that. And the only constant on Bitcoin is the time. It's a 10 minute. Nothing else matters, right? Bitcoin doesn't rely on an oracle. Bitcoin is self-contained. The oracle is in itself, is within. So if you know, a lot of people don't get that. They don't understand like the importance of having a system that doesn't rely on outside data. You know, we don't need other, you know, we don't need external data to tell us what consensus is. Every 10 minutes, Bitcoin find consensus. Every 10 minutes, it recreates itself. You know, so now there is this limit on how much Bitcoin that have to be created, right? The block time, right? The epoch, all those things combined, those are all the things that makes Bitcoin works, right? The epoch, you know, we're gonna get to the 5th epoch now, right? And in 2024, right? The Bitcoin, in order for you to get the Bitcoin, you need to get the time. You have to the time, and you have to have the computers and the energy, right? So the epoch, and every 4 years it gets harder and harder to mine because the amount of Bitcoin get cut in half. So that's why you have the halving. So when the halving happen, you have the amount of Bitcoin every 10 minutes for reward get cut in half. So now this is the magic. Because it get cut in half, then you have more demand for this Bitcoin, right? Because of more demand, you have the price to go up. You need much more energy to, you know, make the same amount of Bitcoin if you're a miner. So if you're a miner, you have to, you know, project way more energy to get those Bitcoin. So now, then the hash rate, which is the speed of mining the Bitcoin, those computer powers have to go up. So when the computer power go up, the value proposition go up. So this is where the value and everything come from. It's because of the energy and the scarcity of time. The scarcity is the key point here. Scarcity, right? If something is not scarce, it doesn't have much value. That's why when I heard like people talking about Ethereum is like ultrasound money, I'm like, it's a joke. Because how can you be ultrasound money if there's no limit on the amount of Ethereum that can be printed out there, right? I heard now they just, reverse this, narrative of ultrasound money. They're reversing that narrative because they need money to pay transaction fees, right? Because there's not much demand for JPEGs transactions on that network, so now they need to raise the transaction fee, right? Because there's not enough demand, so transaction fee drops. Now they need to issue more Ethereum to pay for the stakers, right? Those people who put the Ethereum on stake. So this is the thing. It's like there's no free lunch. You need to get, no free lunch, right? The money has to come from somewhere, right? All the stakers out there, they think, oh yeah, if you stake your ETH, you get more money. It's like, no. It's like a snake eating its own tail, right? If the snake is eating its own tail, at some point it's gonna start eating its own body, its own stomach. It's gonna start eating, and then that's how it dies. Right? It's a snake eating its own tail. It doesn't work. Right? It's not a thermodynamically sound system. Right? There's a leak on it. Right? It has to keep issuing more Ethereum to drain the energy, the monetary energy. That's what we have in fiat money. The government have to keep printing so it can keep funding itself. Then there's a leak in the system, right? It's not self-contained. Bitcoin is self-contained because you only have 21 million. You don't have to trust me for that. You can run your own node and verify it. And if you don't want to you don't want to trust the wallet company, you can use your own, create your own wallet. You can create it's all that. Like Bitcoin is you, right? You can memorize it. You don't have to trust anybody. You don't have to trust the coders. You don't have to trust somebody to tell you what version of the Bitcoin you should run. Right? You don't have to care about that. So that's the beauty and that's the value proposition of Bitcoin. So nobody can take it from you, right? You can take it in the grave with you. And the other thing too, with the scarcity, it's like, think about how many Bitcoin got lost already, right? So many of those Bitcoin will never come back in the market, right? At least not anytime soon. Even like the Satoshi coin, they never come back on the market. Like, you have all those things combined to give this value. And not only that, Bitcoin is solving a critical problem to the grid. Now, most grid companies will need Bitcoin mining to put down excess energy. And not only that, all the payment system, the Lightning Network is helping Bitcoin to solve, right? All those things comes, together. And not only that, Bitcoin is solving the inflation problem for people around the world, right? The reason why most people in the West is not, understanding this yet, is because they still live in a relatively stable currency, right? Because when like other currency fell, they flood to the US dollar because they think the US dollar is okay now, right? But what happened when the US dollar start losing 50% of its value every year, right? By the way, we are very close to that right now. This is not hyperbolic. This is very, we are very close to that, where the US dollar is at 50% inflation. So anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you then again in the next talk. This was PieCover. Thank you for listening.